Nancy finds a woman's name inside one of Fred's miniature houses and immediately assumes her husband is having an affair. When she calls the phone number on the model, she is horrified to hear Annie went missing 3 years ago. They found her body and confirmed it was murder. She realized this wasn't just a simple affair, but a case of killing that had been hidden for many years. She fears her husband is a serial killer, living in Holland, Michigan, a place she once called the most beautiful place on earth. She lives a seemingly perfect life with her steady husband Fred, their 13-year-old son Harry, and a local teaching job. She wakes up daily, looks at the windmill, and feels like she's living a dream. The perfect facade begins to crack. One day, Nancy notices a missing earring from the pair Fred gave her for their 5-year anniversary, and panic sets in when the jewelry is nowhere to be found. She searches the drawers and the floor, but it's nowhere to be found, leaving only one spot she hasn't checked: Fred's private area. A miniature town model sits there, and she spends many hours alone fixing things. Nancy notices a box, opens it, finds several packs of Polaroid photos. She brushes it off, but the next day, while sorting through Fred's laundry, she discovers a parking ticket from Madison in his pocket. Strangely, Fred never even mentioned that he had traveled to Madison at all. The date on the parking ticket matches the day he claimed to be away at a conference, and this discovery sends a ripple of doubt through Nancy's inner world. She starts thinking about Fred's frequent business trips lately. He returns home to find silent calls that nobody answers. All these details start to form a scary theory in her mind. Fred might have an affair. Nancy has a close friend and colleague, Dave. Dave is the school shop teacher, a gentle and honest Latino man who always listens to Nancy's worries and offers support and advice. During a lunch break, Nancy confesses to Dave she suspects Fred is having an affair, sharing her private thoughts. She even found photos, which makes no sense since they don't own a camera. Nancy thinks he's taking weird photos with a lover that nobody is supposed to see. Also, he's an optometrist, so why would he travel so often? Dave listens and asks, "Are you sure this isn't a misunderstanding?" Fred does not seem like that kind of guy, but Nancy points out that's the core of the problem. She says Fred acts impeccable, reliable, and shows no flaws. Yet, that's why she cannot move on. Her gut tells her his decent look is just a mask, and right now, she needs concrete evidence, not just suspicion. At night, she waits for him to sleep to get the address from the photo. Hearing a noise outside the garage, she grabs a hammer, finding a stray cat had knocked over the trash can. Suddenly, the lights turn on. Through curtains, she sees a woman's shadow in his arms. While Nancy is confused, a familiar figure appears. Harry darts past her, and she immediately gives chase, but he vanishes into the bushes as she stumbles out onto an eerie, empty street, desperately searching for any sign of her son. Then, hundreds of corpses roll up behind her. She looks around in panic, but they vanish in a blink. She rushes on, finding cold water hitting her ankles. Unsure if she has grown or the house has shrunk, a train roars overhead, and she screams in terror. She snaps awake, jolted out of the nightmare. The next day, Nancy asks Dave to help her sneak into Fred's office, suspecting that those photos are hidden there. Dave goes to Fred's clinic for a routine exam, but while he's there, he tries to sabotage the door lock, only to panic and attempt to back out of the plan because the situation is getting way too intense. Nancy kisses him. Dave is stunned, and his thoughts of quitting just melt away. That night, with Dave's help, Nancy sneaks through the clinic window to search the office, while Fred is busy having dinner with his son, completely unaware that a client is currently calling about trouble with their contact lenses. She sneaks in while he's busy, unaware that danger is closing in on her. She spots a locked safe, carefully enters Fred's secret code, and it clicks open, revealing a hidden photo album and several bank cards inside. Nancy pockets the card and checks the album, but it is not what she expected, just pages of photos of strange houses. Each photo shows a house with a woman standing in front, her name and address listed below. One photo reads, Lacey Ann, Polonia Queen. Nancy suspects Fred's mistress. Hands shaking, she dials Nancy's number. After getting the info, Nancy pockets the photo, returns everything, and flees the scene. Fred investigates a sound, but the office looks fine. Fred returns to his client, asking if she just got back from shopping with Nancy. Nancy told Fred she is shopping with Gwen, but Gwen is confused and has no idea what that means. Fred feels uneasy. Back at work, he spots her item on the floor. Safely escaped, they're returning to Dave's home, thrilled. Back at Dave's place, they're still wired from the escape and start to get intimate, but a loud, jarring car horn interrupts their moment. Dave sees the man he reported sitting in a car. The guy is furious, honking his horn like he's out for blood. So Dave grabs a baseball bat and charges outside to confront him. He smashes the window without hesitation, and it shatters. The terrified driver slams the gas, fleeing in a panic.
You were so manly.
No, we shouldn't do this, Nancy, no.
Dave says Nancy is married. Now that she has proof, she should leave Fred for him. Nancy refuses, thinking of her son. Nancy calls the bank and finds Fred charged $300 at Jensen Jewelry. Thinking more about it, she feels quite uneasy. One night, she finds her earring by the river. Skeptical, she returns to the bedroom, finding a jewelry box waiting on the bed there. It's a box from the Jensen Jewelry store. Nancy freezes. Misunderstandings cleared, yet her unease stays, especially with what's in the box. Fred enters, gives her a soft look, and returns her lost earring. He recalls their early marriage fights and says they should trust each other. He wants her to get the broken bracelet fixed, so things can just go back to the way they were before. Nancy forces herself to stay composed, saying she'll be a better wife and is truly grateful for the life she has. Yet, when everything seems calm, Dave's image starts to frequently appear in Nancy's mind. His voice and the memory of their intense, shared moments come flooding back, making her miss him more than she ever thought possible. She finally calls up Dave and promises that she will definitely leave Fred. Dave urges her to really think about the consequences, but Nancy just keeps talking, saying she feels like she's trapped in a life that is slowly suffocating her. Dave reminds her that if she actually leaves, the judgment of this small town will turn on them and destroy their reputations completely. Nancy says it's better than not living. Dave asks, what about their son, Harry? Nancy says she'll keep custody. Nancy replies she's the mother and won't lose custody. But Dave knows this isn't just a family dispute. It's an all-out war. Fred is the local moral pillar, so they can't just walk away and expect to get a divorce without a massive fight. In this town, Nancy would be incredibly lucky to even see her son once a month. Hearing this, Nancy doesn't retreat. She reveals her plan. Fred is leaving for a work conference, so she plans to follow him, acting like a private detective, and capture the solid proof of his affair she desperately needs to change the game. She'll take control and force him into a corner. With enough proof, she can get what she wants. Dave is silent for a moment and nods. He knows the plan is dangerous, but he also knows he cannot sit by and let Nancy face the risk alone. She sends Harry to a friend's house to keep him safe. That night, she follows Fred to a hotel, waits for him to leave, then uses a spare key to break into his room and start searching. He finds dark items, handcuffs, briefs, and dog food. She takes photos, her doubts deepening. What do these mean? Are they just fetishes, or is it darker?
Maybe it's into some kind of kink thing, I don't know. I mean, can you believe this? Fred is like he's some weirdo.
Dave watches Fred while Nancy returns to her son. But on the drive, she remembers a detail. Sneaking in Fred's office, she saw a photo of Lacey Ann, Queen of Polonia, then went home. He spots a model that matches the house in the photo. It's labeled with the same name. She thought Fred had an affair, but now she's not sure. But when she followed the model's house number and called, a man answered, and his response left Nancy feeling totally frozen. Ann went missing 3 years ago. Her body was found, a homicide. That info really changed everything. The truth hits her like a hammer. This isn't just an affair. It's a brutal murder case that has been hidden for years. Terrified, she pulls out another photo of a woman from the office. The house in that picture matches another model. Following clues, she checks the address, finds the woman's identity. She's dead, so Nancy can compare them. Some were found, others remain missing. Her fingers tremble as she pieces together the dark murderer's truth. Fred is a serial killer, and Dave is currently tracking him down. Meanwhile, Dave tracks Fred to a cabin and sees him with a woman, snapping photos. Nancy desperately tries to call Dave to warn him, but he left his phone in the car and sneaks inside the cabin, unaware of the danger, determined to find more damning evidence of Fred's crimes. He sneaks in. The owner has many dogs, maybe why Fred brought food. Dave hears breathing in the room. He approaches the bedroom, camera on, and pushes the door open. Yet, what he sees isn't an affair. Stunned, he watches Fred by the bed, calmly dismembering the corpse as blood stains the floor. Dave is terrified. Fred notices him, tackles him, and stabs him. But Dave somehow manages to break free and scramble away from the cabin to safety. He runs to the river, but Fred catches him, and they fight violently until Dave falls into the water, bleeding heavily. Yet he somehow manages to drag himself to Nancy's door. Nancy pulls him inside, desperate for a simple explanation that it is all just a misunderstanding. She hopes Fred is just a cheater, not a monster. Dave says nothing, confirming it all. He wasn't wrong. Fred did it. Moments later, Nancy calms down, asking Dave if it is solved, if they're safe. Dave nods to reassure her. He nods, saying it's taken care of. Nancy asks how he did it. Dave pauses before he speaks. He confronts Fred, lays out the photos and evidence, and warns him that if he doesn't disappear, he will expose the truth to everyone. Fred ultimately chooses to leave. Dave tells Nancy to pack and leave with the child, but she refuses. They absolutely must wait until the Tulip Festival ends to protect her son's future and avoid a massive public scandal, even though Dave is initially against the dangerous idea of just staying put. They finally agree to keep the dark secret buried until everything settles down, hoping to move forward as if the nightmare never happened, though it feels truly impossible. During the Tulip Time Festival, Nancy attends her son's performance, greeting neighbors as she always does, while a friend has even specially saved her a good seat. They ask if Harry's father will watch. Nancy smiles, shakes her head, saying Fred is away, but they saw him nearby just now. Nancy grows incredibly anxious watching the show, and she thinks she sees Fred's looming figure in the dense crowd. Turning back, her child is gone. She finds Dave, who is nervous and hiding a gun. Dave says Fred is back and urges her to run, but she ignores him, grabs Harry by the hand, and tries to escape the area as fast as she can. Nancy takes Harry to a hotel. Harry soon notes her strange behavior. He asks her what is wrong, feeling guilty because he thinks he caused this trouble. Nancy suppresses her emotions, telling him it's not his fault and affirming he has been great. Just as she steadies herself, Dave knocks, urgently warning that Fred has found them and begging to be let inside to seek safety. She tells Harry to stay inside, shuts the door, and confronts Dave, who finally breaks down and admits that he killed a man, claiming he acted out of total panic and fear. He saw Fred kill someone, so he pushed him into the water. She thought he was dead, but the man who should have died is back now. Dave decides to call the police, but Nancy stops him. Nancy says no, because the truth destroys everything. Harry's future will be ruined if he confesses, so they start fighting over the phone, both desperate to get control of the situation. Dave is falling completely apart, rambling about the dog hair he found and his world, and he looks like he's losing his grip on reality. Nancy sees he is spiraling, comforts him. It will be okay. But just then, Nancy finds Harry is missing. She panics, rushes outside, calling his name, and spots Fred's figure by the water. Fred says Harry is in the car and demands she come near. Fred stares coldly, claiming he was always protecting them. To keep them from such things, for years, he made no mistakes, never crossing lines. Yet, Nancy crossed the line. Fred's tone is cold. He thinks the situation is a good thing for them. They are officially in this together now, and they can finally start fresh.
And you know, it's...
This isn't the real me. It did all these things. The real me is here with you and Harry, just like the real you is here right now with me, instead of back there in that cabin, right? You know that it is true, don't you? Fred asks if she doesn't feel incredibly lucky to be with her husband, the man who has always protected her from everything. Aren't you lucky? But first, we really need to get in the car. We need to go home. We just have to press the reset button, right? We need to press the reset button because we can definitely fix this mess if we just try. Let's hit the reset button and start it all over.
Reset.
Fred tries to force her toward the car, but Nancy pulls out the gun she hid and screams at Harry to run for his life. Fred tries to manipulate her, saying Harry will become an orphan or face a worse fate. Nancy won't be moved by him.
You're not gonna move me out of your fucking little houses. You're not.
I have only ever shown you love, Nancy. You really do deserve this.
She pulls the trigger and hits Fred square in the face. Harry bravely stops his dad, who elbows him aside. Nancy finds a piece of wood and repeatedly beats Fred to death. Nancy and Dave's voices speak out.
Holland, Michigan. There were they.
It all was a dream.
The people,
The tulips, the windmill. It was perfect.
when I came here,
I was so afraid. I was afraid.
Afraid?
I was confused.
I couldn't trust anyone, not even myself.
South. And then
Then I met Dave.
I met Nancy.
you opened my eyes.
She really saw me.
Together, we felt safe.
Safe.
Safe and happy.
I finally saw a way out. But sometimes I wonder,
I wonder,
was it even real?